Hello and welcome into another edition of River Dragons Weekly. I'm Zach DeBozart, VP of Communications and play-by-play broadcasting voice for the team. This previous weekend, the River Dragons concluded their three-game over two-weekend set with the Port Huron Prowlers. After the Prowlers won 4-2 against the River Dragons at home, we then took the fight back up to McMorran, and here's how that looked.
Jumping into the highlights on Friday, and it did not take very long till we got some fireworks. Chase Follis and David Nippard, just 8 seconds into the contest on Friday, decide to drop the gloves and go at it. This was based on what happened in the previous Friday game back in Columbus. Nippard took a late shot at one of the River Dragons. Follis wanted to take him to task for it, but there was only about a minute left in the game. So instead, they waited for the next one, and you can see right there, Follis getting a couple of good shots in on Nippard, and he will finish him off, ending up on top. River Dragons had some momentum to start the first game. However, it would be Port Huron who jumped out in front on the power play. Great pass from beneath the goal line by Matt Graham, and Justin Portillo one-timed it through Jared Rutledge. Didn't have a chance to react. 1-0 Port Huron. David Letty battling here with Austin Federley. Letty's going to win that battle, but he passed it up. Federley turned him over, and then a quick shot goes top right corner, and it's 2-0 Port Huron. Prowlers would not be done, but they'd be done for that period. As we move on into the second, you see a battle behind the Port Huron net now. Columbus is on the power play in this situation, and a pass to the left point goes a little bit errant, but Columbus still has control, but only for a moment, as here comes Dalton Jay, who finds a loose puck. Jay going to go 1-on-2 against the defense. You think things are bottled, and yet a backhand shot blocked by Rutledge right off of Zulkanich, and a shorthanded goal makes it 3-0. Columbus would have a number of different chances. You can see Port Huron, though, battling here in the Columbus end, trying to get something going for themselves. And then Columbus in transition is going to get themselves moving up ice after that Follis hit on Nippard. Again, those two very familiar with each other. And a stretch pass to Liarakos finds him on a breakaway, and he scores a goal. Columbus has life. It's 3-1. Moving into the third period now, Columbus had a lot of different chances on Simons, but he stood on his head this night, saved through traffic right there, bringing it back out into the zone. Columbus had to regroup, and this effort coming up here, Simons will make another pretty save. Simons ended up making 41 saves in this game to shut down Columbus. You see it right there, tic-tac-toe, and somehow it stayed out. Corey Simons, he played a phenomenal game in this one. Another effort coming up here for Columbus after a good shot block and moving it up ice. Watch this chance. Breakaway coming in for C.J. Hayes. Tries a little deke. Check that. Chase Follis with the breakaway. Tried to deke there. It stood on the post for a little bit, and Port Huron eventually was able to get it away. Columbus would get back within one, though, in this highlight. You see a good 2-on-2 battle here. River Dragons come out with it. C.J. Hayes going to skate it up ice, throw it over to the left wing side. Watch Yanni Liarakos bearing down right wing, just blasting it through Simons. It's 3-2 on Liarakos' second of the night. Game's waning seconds, though. Port Huron able to dump this one out, and Columbus trying to enter the zone one last time. Good effort at the blue line, keeps the puck out, and the River Dragons can do nothing but watch the clock run down as the Prowlers win 3-2 to take all 3 points on Friday night.
Tough loss on Friday night, but the team regrouped and got ready for Saturday. Could they pull off a win to split the weekend? Here's how that looked.
Here we go on to Saturday's highlights. 0-0 our score. We start up in the second period after a scoreless first on Teddy Bear Toss night here in Port Huron. Prowlers in the ugly sweater jerseys and an anxious crowd ready to throw the Bears. Columbus nearly gets on the board first with C.J. Hayes poking one just wide on the far post there. It would take about half the game, but Port Huron would eventually get to throw those Bears. Power play situation, check this out. Graham to Robertson, circle to circle, and then right there in the middle, Matt Graham all alone, putting it 5-hole through Pashevitz, and it's 1-0 Port Huron. And you can see the Bears raining down here in Port Huron. We had a good teddy bear toss ourselves, you'll see a little bit later on in tonight's show. And after the delay, cleaning them all up, Port Huron would keep on going through it. Zulkanich off a face-off win, shot, save made Pashevitz, rebound Federley, burying it top corner, and it's 2-0 Port Huron. This is in the third period, so Columbus having to get a little bit desperate here. Another face-off coming up for the Prowlers in the offensive zone. Jay shot, good stop there by Rylan Pashevitz, and then another effort right off the glove hand from Dalton Young and into the protective netting. So Rylan Pashevitz doing his part to keep it 2-0. However, Columbus trying to move the puck up ice and get Pashevitz out of the net. Port Huron quickly turned over and transitioning the other way, burying it top left corner. That would be Dalton J, breaking a little bit of a slump for himself, and he made it 3-0, and that was our final score in the game. Columbus suffers their first shutout in team history.
Unfortunately, the River Dragons were swept by the Prowlers on that weekend, December 13th and 14th, but now they look ahead to a nice little bit at home, starting with December 20th and 21st against the Delaware Thunder. It's games 1 and 2 of a 4-game homestand that hits the road a little bit. Some pretty easy travel for Columbus, with December 29th being a neutral site game in Athens, Georgia, December 31st at Carolina, and then to start the new year, right here back in Columbus for another 4-game homestand. That means 8 games out of the next 10 will be in the friendly confines of the Columbus Civic Center. Very excited to have the fans come on out, support the team, and try and break this now 4-game losing streak that the River Dragons are on. With the Delaware Thunder, though, they're going to bring in a hard-hitting style. They have 4 of the top 5 leaders in terms of penalty minutes on their team. We'll talk more about them a little bit later on in tonight's show. We also have Shaun Lymer coming up on the show as well. Nice interview with him. He's out of British Columbia, Canada, which is northwest side, out of Vancouver Island. A lot of people know the city of Vancouver, so far away from home. We'll talk about how he became a Columbus River Dragon, what he's been doing. He's been a very effective defenseman for the River Dragons this season. You saw him a little bit here and there in the highlights, and you'll see him all throughout the show as well, coming up in just a little bit. River Dragons did fall to the Prowlers 2 straight, and we look at where they now sit in the standings. Still in 4th place in the Western Division, had a chance to jump over Port Huron as they were only 1 point separating the two teams, going back even to last weekend during that Friday 4-2 loss the River Dragons took at home. But now with Port Huron taking 6 points out of 6 from Columbus, they sit 7 points clear of the River Dragons, 25 points on 15 games played. Columbus 18 points on 16. We'll get you a full standings rundown later on in the show as well. For right now, though, we have to take a break. When we come back, we will talk with River Dragons number 7, Shaun Lymer. It comes up after this. Don't go anywhere.
Francis Marion, better known as the Swamp Fox, a guy known for his guile, his unorthodox methods, the first militiaman. He was crafty before craft even existed. F. Marion Continental Whiskey has its own crafty and cunning instincts, a spirit that's bold but smooth. This is a premium, small batch American whiskey that punches well above its weight. Enjoy Swamp Fox F. Marion Continental Whiskey at all River Dragon home games.
Golden Corrals, carved New York strip and jumbo butterfly shrimp. Make me feel like a real New Yorker. Hey, I'm eating here. New York strip and butterfly shrimp. Golden Corral, the only one for everyone.
There's a lot to love about fall, like the cool weather, watching the game, or streaming your favorite movies with fast and reliable internet and Wi-Fi. Fall is the perfect time to make the change to Beam with no data caps, all your favorite channels, and fast speeds. Call or visit us online at ctvbeam.com to get the perfect package for your needs and make your fall even better.
Every day, we're powered by you.
Let Shredaway, a division of the Overby Company, take care of all your document shredding needs. We can design a custom shredding program for your business today. No need to purchase equipment, no maintenance expenses, no need to prepare records for destruction, increase employee productivity, increase security, no worry. Was it really destroyed? Right now, all new customers can receive 10% off. Shredaway, a division of the Overby Company, locally owned and operated in downtown Columbus. That's Shredaway, 706-577-9668.
Whether you're heading to an off-road destination, creating the perfect lawn, or preparing the fields, think SunSouth, where you'll find quality John Deere equipment, affordably priced to help you tackle the tough jobs. Think SunSouth, for those that do.
Welcome back into River Dragons Weekly. Today our special guest for this show is none other than defenseman number 7, Shaun Lymer. Shaun, thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, no worries.
Shaun, you come to us from British Columbia, which for those that may be geographically challenged, in the northwest of Canada. So how in the world do you go from Northwest Canada to playing professional hockey here in Southeastern United States?
I don't know. I kind of, to be honest, played kind of all over the place. Played in 3 provinces in Canada. I played in Minnesota, played college in New York, and went to Europe for a few years in Sweden. So I had a connection that knew Scott. And when I didn't go back to Europe this year, he reached out to Scott, and then that's how I came down for a tryout at the start of the year.
So you're something of a traveler for hockey, for your hockey career. How do you like playing down here in Columbus?
It's good. It's nice. It's a good change. I've never been down south in the U.S. I've kind of been everywhere else. Love the weather. If I was in Vancouver right now, it'd be pouring rain every day. So it's nice to be able to walk around in shorts to the rink and stuff like that in December. So I'm liking that a lot. Yeah,
a lot of guys bring that up. I mean, it's December, and I think the day we're shooting this, it's like 60, 70 degrees. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah, that's probably the weather in July sometimes in Vancouver. So it's
only
nice.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
It feels like summer a little bit to me, to be honest with you.
Well, that's awesome. Before you came here to Columbus, you mentioned you'd played in Sweden. You've been there for 3 years. What was that experience like? You know, being able to go to Europe, experience a different culture, and I guess you played with one of your old teammates there, and now your current teammate here again, right?
Yeah. So I didn't play for a couple years after college. There, took a break, and opportunity came up. Got asked if I wanted to play in Sweden, and it's actually a country I always wanted to travel to. So a chance to kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone was a great thing, and I had some ups and downs there, some injuries and things like that, but like culture-wise and getting to travel to other countries, I traveled by myself last year for the holidays, things like that was a great experience, made me really want to keep doing it. And then with last year, I played with Tim Sanapolo. So me and him actually were roommates for a little bit last year, hung out together every day for 5 months. And then now I live with him down here in Columbus. So it's a nice thing to come here into the year, like a couple months after everybody else, and at least know one guy who can kind of give me the ins and outs of how things go. So it's been good.
Were you guys the only North Americans on that team? That why you hung out so much?
No, we had one of those weird teams. Normally, each team will have like a couple or a few or kind of none. We were up in a really small town in western Sweden near all the ski resorts. And I think there was the first year in a long time that they brought in some North Americans. So I think we had about 5, I think was the average, which was kind of uncommon for over there. There's normally not that many, but yeah.
All right. And so when we look at where you played in Sweden, my favorite thing to talk with guys about is, you mentioned you were in the western part of Sweden.
Yeah.
And the city names, I have a difficult time pronouncing them. I'm wondering, I know the one you met with Tim was Svegs.
Yeah, Sveg.
We've talked with Tim about that. What about these other 2 cities you played in? Can you even pronounce them? Because I'm having a difficult time with
So
them.
the first one is Fagersta.
Okay.
So that's in the middle of the country. It's kind of parallel with Stockholm.
Okay.
Just drive west about 3 hours.
Wow.
It's near Västerås, which is one of the college university cities. Then the other one's Nynäshamn. So Nynäshamn was about 45 minutes south of Stockholm. So eastern. And then, the last year was Sveg with Timmy. So Stockholm, drive straight across to the other side of the country towards Norway and Denmark.
It's a quick shot across.
And then up about 3-4 hours. So it kind of, it was a town of like 2,000 people, I think.
Wow. That's
so
tiny.
great people though. I coached kids when I was there too, so I got to meet a lot of young kids and their families, and that was a lot of fun, but definitely not much to do, which is why we hung out every day and played board games. And
I believe it.
Yeah.
We're speaking here with Shaun Lymer. He wears the number 7, plays defense for your Columbus River Dragons. We've talked a little bit about the team, but the fact that you came in midway through the season, and we're starting to bring in different guys. Guys that either come in via trade, come in via signing. It seems like the roster's still not fully 100% settled right now. It seems like guys are coming in, guys are coming out for different reasons too. What's it like being in that locker room and just having guys coming in and out? I mean, is it tough to get a sort of chemistry, a sort of feel for the room, or is it just the team's rolling no matter who's in it?
For myself, I don't know, it's a little different for me playing over in Europe after college. Doesn't really happen too much. Normally if it does, it kind of happens at the end of the year before playoffs start. Lots of teams will bring guys in if they're trying to move up, or if they're losing, they don't worry about it. So it's the first time I've really experienced this, and especially coming in late myself, to be honest, the first 2-3 weeks I just kind of hung low and just try to focus on practicing and wait until I got into the lineup to play and things like that. So it is tough though. All the guys in the room are great. Love everybody. Everyone seems to get along. Everyone has fun. So I'm just hoping we keep that going and keep trending in the right direction like we have been on the ice with everything.
Well, since you've been in the lineup, you've been a pretty dependable defenseman. We've seen you out in a number of different situations. You come from British Columbia, which is a very good, hockey area. Lots of different things to do around there. Lots of different teams and events. How did that contribute to you becoming a pro? Because I know you said you took those years off.
Yeah.
But having that hockey background in such a hockey-rich area, that certainly had to help when you finally made the decision to become a pro, play in Europe, now back here in North America.
Yeah, no, I think I was pretty lucky. I grew up on Vancouver Island, so it's on the West Coast, on the Pacific Ocean, just like Tremblay did. So over there, you get hindered a little bit sometimes. They don't have as many facilities, or we don't have ice all year long. I used to have to drive 2 hours in the summer to skate, things like that. But I was lucky enough with my age group to be brought up with some ex-NHLers as coaches and things like that, and a lot of good hockey players around my age, and good opportunity, especially, being Canadian, hockey's kind of a way of life, and
definitely
in that aspect. So,
who were some of the ex-NHLers that you had as coaches?
The main one would be Greg Adams. He played for the Washington Capitals for a number of years. I think he got to go to their Winter Classic charity game a couple years back and things like that. And just then having my father live in Vancouver, it's nice to have an NHL team close to you. You get to go watch guys like Pavel Bure when I was in the 90s, little kid, or watch him on TV and things like that.
McGillney, too. He was
McGillney, Bure, Naslin, the Sedins. I've seen the Sedins walking around the city all the time since living there.
That's insane.
So it's nice. It's really good, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely sounds really cool. We're speaking here with Shaun Lymer, wearing the number 7 for your Columbus River Dragons this season. Shaun, just looking ahead to this upcoming not only weekend but homestand for the River Dragons. This has to feel like a huge part of the schedule for us. We've got 4 straight at home, a neutral site in Athens, then 1 road game before another 4 straight at home. So with 8 out of 10 being at the Columbus Civic Center, it's going to be a big deal for the guys and for the fans to come out and not only see some good hockey, but a chance for us to correct this little losing streak we're on and get ourselves going and feeling right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be nice. I think we've been looking forward to this. It's always nice to have a nice routine, sleep in your own bed, be at home, especially with the facilities we're lucky enough to have and the fans and how loud they get in the rink. It's a lot more fun playing here than on the road for sure.
And especially being down south, being down in Columbus through good chunks of December and January, it's okay having the walking to the rink with shorts, right?
Yeah, no, I don't hate that. It's a lot nicer than the road trips up north there, having to wear sweats or jackets all the time. So
yeah, for
it'll be good.
Well, all right. Hey, Shaun, thanks for your time.
Yeah, no worries.
Appreciate it, and good luck out there on the ice the rest of the way. Maybe we'll see you back here sometime.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, that was Shaun Lymer wearing the number 7 with your River Dragons. Stick around after this break. We take a look at our upcoming weekend with the Delaware Thunder, and also take a look around the league, see where else the River Dragons stand in the FPHL as it goes right now. More after this. Don't go anywhere.
There's a lot to love about fall, like the cool weather, watching the game, or streaming your favorite movies with fast and reliable internet and Wi-Fi. Fall is the perfect time to make the change to Beam with no data caps, all your favorite channels, and fast speeds. Call or visit us online at ctvbeam.com to get the perfect package for your needs and make your fall even better.
Every day, we're powered by you.
Whether you're heading to an off-road destination, creating the perfect lawn, or preparing the fields, think SunSouth, where you'll find quality John Deere equipment, affordably priced to help you tackle the tough jobs. Think SunSouth, for those that do.
The best damn spirits in the world. We say that because we care about what we do. The premium quality of our spirits doesn't come from some secret recipe or magic water. It comes from our desire to craft the best damn spirits in the world. Swamp Fox Distilling Company. Premium, small batch spirits made with pride in Buena Vista, Georgia. Now available at your favorite local package store.
At Georgia Power, we believe our lake should be filled with water, not trash. That a healthy honeybee population will pollinate a healthier environment. that building homes is just as important as powering them. That's why we believe what we do off the grid is just as important as the clean, safe, reliable, affordable energy we provide on it. And that's a different kind of energy.
The River Dragons are back in town. Be part of it this weekend as your Columbus River Dragons burn up the ice. Call 706-507-4625 or go to rdragons.com.
Welcome back into River Dragons Weekly. I want to thank Shaun Lymer for his time and giving us a good interview. A little bit of insight, learning where he came from and how he became a Columbus River Dragon. Like we said, one of the steadier defensemen we've got here on this team, and hope he sticks around for a little bit. Now, last week we unfortunately had to run a rerun of the show because I had some sickness running through the office and just couldn't get a show properly made up in time for you. And I know a lot of our fans love to see our highlights on this particular show, so let's give you guys a little bonus from the Friday, December 6th game. We already mentioned we did lose that game 4-2, but let's show you how that game looked right now. It's a little bonus to you guys, and here's how it is.
So here we are in the bonus highlights, of course, that we missed last week. It was Teddy Bear Toss night at the Civic Center, and early on into the game, about 3 minutes in, here's Ivan Bondarenko burying it. First touch right there past the blocker side, and you can see the Teddy Bears raining to the ice. About 3 minutes into the game, it was 1-0. After about a 5-10 minute delay to clean up the Bears, Port Huron would find themselves into this game with a weird goal. Watch Pfeiffer behind the net. He'll pick up this puck, then just sort of throw it there, and it somehow leaks through Pashevitz, gets into the net. A weird one ties it up 1-1. Moving on into the second period, Port Huron would open the scoring here after a great play by Robertson to hold the puck in right wing side. Watch it move around, and then a pass to the middle. Looked like it might have gone off of Fallis. Robertson ends up getting the goal anyways, but Fallis and Robertson battling there on the back door. Goes off of one of them and into the net 2-1. Check out this effort, though, by Pashevitz to keep the game 2-1. Great save here, diving across to his left, then getting back right, holding onto the post, just keeping the post between his pads there to give himself stability. Port Huron banging away, couldn't get it to go, and that would be a good thing because here's C.J. Hayes cutting to the middle, ties up the game, going 5-hole it looked like on Simon, made it 2-2, but we weren't done with the scoring in this second period. Prowlers would end up getting one back behind the net for the River Dragons. Again, good keeping here by the Prowlers right at the right point. This is Stoya going to pass it across, and then Graham just buries it to make this one 3-2. River Dragons would continue to push, trying to make something out of this game, but eventually Port Huron would find the empty net as Zachary Zolkanich knocks this one from the red line in, made it 4-2. That's how the final score finished. But watch at the end of this, time had run out, and you see the Clans meeting at center ice. There's Fallis and Nippard. There was what started the fisticuffs on Friday, that discussion right there.
So there it was, and now you're all caught up on highlights. Again, unfortunate the River Dragons couldn't pull off that win. They were right there with Port Huron, down to the thick of it. Good back and forth game, but again, couple of bounces just didn't go our way and ended up on the wrong side of things, taking 0 out of 3 points there. And again, that's part of the 4-game losing streak that the River Dragons are currently on, but they'll be hoping to snap that against the Delaware Thunder, who come up this weekend, and it's how we start to take a look at games going on in the FPHL this weekend, starting, of course, with your River Dragons. They'll take on the Delaware Thunder, 7:35 puck drop on Friday, 6:05 puck drop on Saturday. Elsewhere in the league, the Danbury Hat-Tricks are on a 9-game winning streak and will look to push that to double digits when they host the Watertown Wolves on Friday, and then they'll go to Watertown Saturday, a home and home, much like they did last weekend. Carolina Thunderbirds have to travel to the Mentor Icebreakers. They're looking to start up a new win streak of their own. They lost a 10-game winning streak when the Elmira Enforcers beat them in a shootout on Saturday night. Speaking of those Elmira Enforcers, they are in Battle Creek taking on the Rumblebees. Rumblebees, of course, still looking for their first point. We'll check the standings in just a little bit. But Elmira at Battle Creek for 2 games that start at 7:35 on Friday and Saturday. And that just leaves the Port Huron Prowlers and the Danville Dashers. 2 games in Danville, 8:05 East, 7:05 Central, puck drops there. Big games for the River Dragons, sort of to watch. As we mentioned, Port Huron ahead of Columbus in the standings now by a sizable margin. Danville sits second in the Western Division, so those games going to have important value based on what Columbus can do against Delaware and how those two teams shake out in terms of points on the weekend. Speaking of points, let's go ahead and transition that into the standings. Take a look at how things sit currently in the FPHL. Carolina still up top in the Western Division, 46 points on 17 games played. They did take that overtime loss, the shootout loss, we should say, to Elmira. Keeps their winning percentage at above 900 right now. They're at a 902, 16 points ahead of Danville with a game in hand. Danville's at 30 points on 18 games played. Port Huron sits 25 with 15 games played, so the Prowlers, with 3 games in hand on Danville, could find themselves in second place when the schedules finally all do balance out, and we see teams playing closer to a similar amount of games. Columbus on their 16 games sitting at 18 points, so 7 points back of Port Huron, 12 back of Danville. This upcoming homestand, as we mentioned, of 8 games in the Civic Center over the next 10 is going to be huge to try and make up ground and get themselves back into the thick of things in the race in the Western Division. And as you see at the bottom, Battle Creek still down there looking for their first point, currently sitting at a record of 0-19. Moving over to the Eastern Division quickly, Danbury, that 9-game winning streak has pushed them all the way to the top. The Hat-Tricks, 35 points on 17 games played. Danbury has been quite an upstart team for an expansion franchise, and again, sitting atop the Eastern Division. They just passed Watertown with that 2-game sweep, home and home. Those two teams play each other again this weekend, so going to be some fun hockey to watch if you're an Eastern Division fan. Watertown, second place, 33 points on 17 games played. They're percentage points ahead of Menor, the Icebreakers, 33 points on 18 games played. We'll have some more on Menor in just a little bit. Elmira sitting fourth, 26 points. And then Delaware at 9 points on 16 games played. Obviously, you can see right there from the standings. It's a huge opportunity for the River Dragons coming up against the Delaware Thunder. 2 games in the Civic Center, Friday 7:35, Saturday 6:05. Our Saturday night game is Hockey Fights Hunger, with a specialty jersey auction via the Live Source app, which you can download for free on any Android or iOS device, and all proceeds from that will go to benefit local charities. But the specialty jerseys, you'll see them a little bit on social media. Come out to the game on Saturday, see them in person, and try and win one of them again via the Live Source app. Want to talk about Menor real quick. The Menor Icebreakers and the River Dragons have made a trade. We saw that news break a little bit earlier this week. Yuri Peshtuka and Chad Herron have been sent to the Menor Icebreakers. Parker Moskal and Vaughn Clouston are now Columbus River Dragons. And for fans that might think, hey, those names are familiar, Parker Moskal had an interesting thing. On the Wednesday night game the Icebreakers played here, he was actually ruled ineligible because his name was written incorrectly in a weird administrative clerical error, so he could not play on that game. But don't worry, he scored in Friday and Saturday's games. At one point, he was the second leading point getter in the FPHL. So Parker Moskal is going to bring a lot of offense to the River Dragons. Very excited to see how he does, as again, his debut is expected coming up this weekend against the Delaware Thunder. Well, that's just about all the time we have in today's episode. I want to thank Shaun Lymer for joining us on today's That'll just about do it for us on this edition of River Dragons Weekly. I want to thank Shaun Lymer for his time joining us on the show, learning a bit about him. I want to thank the fine folks at CTV who help run all the production and the behind-the-scenes stuff to bring this show to you. And I want to thank as well the River Dragons front office who allow us to put on this show and keep everyone informed on everything River Dragons. I'm Zach DeBozart, the voice of the team. You'll hear from us Friday night, 92.1 FM, 1420 AM, as well as the Columbus River Dragons YouTube page. It's a 7:05 Burger King pregame show as the River Dragons and the Delaware Thunder start up a 2-game set in advance of the holidays. We'll hear from you then. For now, we're signing off. We'll see you next time on River Dragons Weekly.